Chapter 2, From Strangers to Friends. Your POV. Slowly you feel your consciousness return as your eyelids flutter open. A bright light filled your vision as your eyelids adjusted to the white ceiling. You slowly sit up, only to feel a slight soreness in your arms, as they were both now coated and wrapped in bandages. Well, at least that means my arms are healing, you thought as you walked around the empty nurse's office. It was silent. Only the sounds of students walking outside and the occasional breeze of the wind against the window. But the peaceful silence was quickly interrupted by the sounds of a loud explosion from outside the room, followed by yelling. Out of impulse, you swing your legs off the bed, throwing the blanket off to the side and standing to your feet, only to be met face first with a large cloud of smoke. You coughed lightly to clear out your lungs as the cloud vanished to reveal a spiky ashed blonde boy yelling at a red-headed boy. His hair was considerably and argumentatively more spiky than the blonde's. "Damn shitty hair, what took you so long?" the blonde yelled, as what looked like small explosions popped from his palms. "Sorry, Baka bro. I was just texting Danky the plans for tonight," the redhead explained, earning an annoyed sound from Baku bro? You decided to name him that, or at least give him the title until you figured out his real name. Either way, just as you were about to turn back into the nurse's office, not wanting to get in any way of any fight, your stomach let out a loud growl, drawing the two males' attention from the argument, or conversation, towards you. You froze in your tracks as you feel their eyes boil into your back. So, begrudgingly, you turn to face them, holding your bandaged arms for comfort in this very awkward situation. Hi there. Your sentence was cut off by the loud sounds of footsteps behind you. You turn other to see your R-rated mother with a warm yet worried smile. "Hoshi, you're up!" Her smile grew as she enveloped you in a light but warm hug. "Huh? Who's this extra?" the blonde asked with an irritated tone as you could feel glaring eyes burn into your back, causing you to shudder. Oh, this is... well... Well, you'll know tomorrow. She giggled mischievously, causing both the boys to shudder at her tone. It didn't bother you all that much. You had grown accustomed to it. But the real question is, why are you two still in school? School ended 15 minutes ago. It did? How long was I out? You'd yell in shock at the fact one could sleep for that long. Midnight only chuckled while the other boys jumped back. You then looked out the window to see the orange-dusted sky with a bit of pink sprinkled over it. Without a second thought, you rushed into the nurse's office and slung your backpack over your shoulder and pulled your suitcase as you rushed back to your R-rated hero, almost out of breath. I didn't miss everyone, did I? I still need to get a place to stay. You groaned as a worried look adorned your face. Bakubro and the redhead just stared at the bandaged girl as your eyes glowed from what they guessed was worry. Don't worry so much, dear. I already have your dorm set up and your papers filled out while you were asleep. And I especially made sure that your room is far, far, far away from the boys' side. She smiled down at you before giving the boys a dark smile, as if to say, "Back off." You smiled, relaxing as the glow in your eyes settled, a relieving sigh leaving your lips. But I suggest that you two get back to your dorms, she ordered Bakubro and the redhead with a stern look, making them jump back. You looked back at the boys and waved politely with your bandaged hand, and shyly as you hid behind Midnight. Both Bakubro and the redhead nodded and bidded their goodbyes as they walked back to the dorms. Sorry. Midnight, however, hummed as she took your belongings and walked alongside you to the girls' side of the dorms. As they walked, your stomach growled once more, making you hold your attention-seeking organ. Midnight looked at you and then at the door to the common room. Come on now, dear. Let's put your things in your room and then you can get something to eat. She smiled as she continued to walk past the common room. You followed, but stopped in front of the common room door. Curiosity flooding your senses, you very carefully and very slowly slid open the door to see a mix of boys and girls laughing and playing in front of a massive television. From what you could see, it looked like someone was playing Mario Kart and losing victoriously, while others studied at the table and the island in the kitchen. A soft smile tugged at your lips as you glanced around the room at the new faces, only for a pair of big green eyes to look up from what looked like a damaged notebook to meet yours. Your face heating up as you slammed the door shut and rushed to Midnight, trying to calm the red rising as she smiled and opened your new dorm. Your jaw dropped to the floor as you gasped in wonder. This is incredible! It's like living in a hotel room for celebrities! You say giddily as Midnight giggled at your excitement. Deku's POV. I saw the same girl glancing from around the room with her bandaged hands holding the door gently. I couldn't help but found myself being enamored with her aura. She seemed kind, but strong with a heart of gold. I found myself staring at her before her eyes met mine, and then she yelped in surprise. As she quickly slammed the door, the sound of rushing footsteps could be heard, quickly fading away. I assumed I wasn't the only one who heard the loud slam as both Ida and Todoroki-kun looked up from their books as Uraraka peered up from her book. Shinso lifted his head sleepily from the table to glare at the door. What was all that about? Uraraka thought out loud as I piped up. I saw that girl from Recovery Girl's office, he said before an excited look swept any confusion from Uraraka's face as Ida gave a look of concern. Now that they are better, we should go and check on them? If a teacher is helping a student carry just 2 bags of luggage with them, then we should make sure they are feeling okay, Ida said with a glint in his eyes that he only ever got when the feeling of being responsible flooded in. After a little bit of consideration, I found myself surrounded by Todoroki, Uraraka, and Ida, Hitoshi still asleep on the island, following the footsteps of Midnight and the mystery student. Midnight was walking down the hall with the same girl as we all stopped dead in our tracks in a silence that felt like an eternity, until Uraraka broke the silence. Hey there! How are you feeling? Your arms look better, she commented with a kind smile, making the girl in question smile lightly as she pulled at her bandages. I'm okay. Don't worry about it. This happens more often than not, she answered in a quiet voice before Ida straightened his posture. I believe it is only polite to introduce ourselves. I am Tenya Ida-san, right? She interrupted, surprising everyone. A small moment of silence filled the air before she spoke up again in a hushed tone. I saw you all at the sports festival. You all were amazing. she mumbles, looking away as pink dusted her cheeks. Cute. I thought before realizing what I was thinking and rapidly shook my head. I think it's time for Miss Nana to go to bed. She has a big day ahead of her. Midnight interrupts whatever this was and places her hand on the girl's shoulder she called Nana, guiding her to the common room. You go get something to eat while I finish unpacking your things. You don't look like you can do much lifting anyway. She chuckles, turning to walk back to her to the girl's dorm, or what was called Nana, before patting her on the head. Is Midnight your mom, Nana-san? Uraraka asked as Nana whipped her head back to look at Uraraka in shock. No, she isn't. My mom is... She trailed off her sentence before turning away from us to stumble her way into the common room, making a beeline for the fridge. She got many questionable looks thrown at her as she grabbed an apple from the fridge, walked towards the door past us only to be stopped by Kacchan. Oh no. I thought as she turned to face him, a scowl plastered on his face as she looked away from him. Who the hell do you think you are, damn extra? He yelled, causing Nana to flinch and recoil, only for his grasp to tighten. I felt something tighten around my own chest as I watched the scene unfold before me. What's happening? Why am I feeling like this? My thoughts were interrupted by the sounds of mumbling. Oi, what was that, extra? Speak up. Kacchan growled as suddenly he jumped back, holding his hand that was now steaming and burnt with a burn all around his palm. Don't touch me, Nana said in a low, almost dark tone as Kacchan looked up at her, only to be met with glowing eyes glaring back at him. For a future pro hero, I half expected someone with common decency. Guess that's something rare people see over here, isn't it? She spat as she turned and walked out of the room, a small slip of paper falling from her coat pocket as she slid the door closed. Your POV. You walked up the stairs, your body giving a faint glow that illuminated your figure as your eyes glowed brighter than every part of your body. You took a bite of the apple as you reached the elevator and pressed the top floor button. Your mind grew blank with every bite of the apple, just enjoying the taste of what was your meal. The sound of the elevator pulled you out of the empty space of your mind as you stepped out with a small sigh. You reached your dorm to see a neatly made bed with a navy blue comforter covered with stars and small white specks. Next to the bed was a white desk with a small lamp with star-shaped light bulbs held up with string along with small jars filled with pens and pencils. Of course, star and galaxy themed. And finally, at the under end of the room, laid a small fort made of pillows, blankets, and had small pictures of her friends. But upon closer inspection, you could see that one photo was missing. Where is Mom and Dad? You asked yourself as you began to frantically look around the room. Third-person point of view. Meanwhile, with Izuku and the rest still shell-shocked as Bakugo runs his hand under your cold water from the sink, Todoroki chuckles as he looked at Izuku, crouching down and picking up a small piece of paper. What is that, Midoriya? He asked in his usual monotone voice. It took a moment before Izuku stood to his feet and walked to the elevator without saying any slip of a word. Midoriya, Todoroki asked as he followed his green-haired friend, just barely slipping into the elevator with a questioning, yet almost worried look on his face as he stared at the paper. But upon closer inspection, he quickly saw that it was a photo of a male and a female, both dressed up in hero outfits, holding a small girl with a matching hero outfit of the female. They held the small girl close in their arms as they all seemed very happy. This belongs to Nana-chan. I'm going to return it to her. Izuku spoke as his cheeks flared to a pink color at the mentioning of returning the photo to the stranger. Todoroki simply nodded as the elevator door opened to her floor. They walked out as they made her way to the door. Izuku was about to knock before he retracted his hand and ran it through his messy green hair. What do I say? What if she thinks I stole it? The broccoli boy began to mumble before Shoto placed his hand on his shoulder. Just say what comes to mind, Midoriya, he says, giving a very rare small smile down in his green-haired friend, earning a determined look on his face. However, the pink in his cheeks grows to a red more and more as he raised his hand to knock on the door, only to have it whipped open. There you stood, panting and tired, as a look of distress painted on your face before you stumbled back, your face just as red as Izuku's. Why are you here? You mumbled as you looked at the floor. If it's for the way I treated the blonde kid, I'm sorry, I didn't mean it, I swear. It just happened and I wasn't thinking, so I just slipped out and... You dropped this. Todoroki interrupted you as he nudged Izuku's shoulder. Huh? Wait, I am... here. Here. He mumbled, holding up the photo. You looked at his scared, shaking hand as you saw the familiar photo, quickly snatching it out of the green-haired boy's hands, scanning it to make sure it wasn't folded, wrinkled, or damaged in any way. Thank you so much for returning this to me, you say, smiling down at the photo. Your family? Where are they? Todoroki asked bluntly, causing Izuku to jolt. Todoroki, we shouldn't be asking such a question to the new student. It's fine. You cut him off as your eyes were locked onto the photo. After a sharp inhale, you speak up. Villain attack. Parents were home, I wasn't. They were pro-heroes, so... She trailed off, biting her lower lip. You trailed off, biting your lower lip. I am very sorry for your loss, Izuku says with a worried smile. It's a horrible thing to happen to anyone, especially those you love. Todoroki agrees as you step back. I'm going to get some rest. You two should as well, you say, breaking the silence as the two boys get the message and leave. Before Izuku could close the door, she finishes. You seem so kind. And the door closed. You stood there for a moment before placing the photo onto your nightstand and changed into your pajamas, crawling into bed, falling asleep into the dark void. Aizawa's POV. I was making my way around school when I walked past a large group of people huddled in front of a television store, murmuring softly. Although I was sick and tired, my curiosity won the battle as I pushed my way through the crowd to see what the fuss was about. The TVs were all on one news station as the heading read, Young Female Hero Saves Civilians from Falling Debris. And with the heading, a video was showing a familiar teenage girl with her arms outstretched to the large falling debris. A blast of energy shot through her palms as Axis energy surged around her. It looked familiar to the way Izuku used his quirk, but it looked like a soft yellow color. Yet her stance yet her stance and quick reflexes matched with an all too familiar hothead Ground Zero or Bakugo Katsuki. But that wasn't what shocked me. It was a similarity in appearance to my old friends. Then it clicked. She was the daughter of my closest friends, who had supposedly died around 5 years ago. I rushed home and began to do research on what had happened, but when I did, something unusual happened. As soon as my finger pressed the search on the computer engine, the whole screen was filled with static as computer was then, as quickly as it happened, shut off and began to restart. Then it showed a text in big, bold letters saying, "Stay away." What the hell? I backed up slowly from my computer and simply walked to my room. I didn't have enough energy to deal with whatever the hell was happening. And with that, I walked away from the laptop and crawled into bed. Alright, because I've been so behind on this, I feel like y'all deserve chapter 3 of Familiar Face. So, yeah, this is gonna be a longer video. Maybe, let's see how well my phone's gonna take this. And yes, I am going to mess up, as per bad throat. Sue me. Alright, chapter 3, A Familiar Face. I wake up to the sounds of birds chirp. I forgot to mention, this is in your POV, meaning you are Hoshi. I wake up to the sounds of birds chirping and the sunlight shining through my window. The sun blinding me as I open my eyes. I sit up as I hear a knock on the door. I glance at my clock on the nightstand. Who on earth would be here at 5 in the morning? I walked over to the door, still tired. I open the door and see a familiar face. Izuku-kun? I asked with my still blurry vision. Yeah, it's me, he says with a smile. I didn't wake you up, did I? He quickly asked, changing his expression. My vision's much clearer now. What? No, you didn't wake me up, I said as his face seemed to relax. Okay, good. There's something I wanted to ask you. He stutters as his eyes met the floor. I tug on the nightgown that barely covered my knees out of habit as I run my hand through my disheveled hair, a small yet tired smile tugging at my lips. Well, me and my friends were going to have breakfast at this cafe nearby before school started. We were wondering if maybe you wanted to come with us? His gaze lifted from the floor to meet my own, as there was a moment of silence. A small exhale leaves my lips as I nod slowly. Yeah, sure, let me get dressed. He spoke in a slight, sleepy tone. Adorable, he thought before his face turned a light shade of pink. Well, when you finish getting dressed, come downstairs to the common room. That's where we'll be. Okay, thanks, bye. He practically yelled before speeding down the hall. Huh. I'm guessing that's just normal energy around here? I said to myself as I closed the door to my dorm and began to change into my old school uniform, which was made of a slightly big gray sweater with a yellow neck scarf, a small yellow skirt that fell down to my knees, and black slip-ons. With one final look in the mirror, I grabbed my phone and earbuds, along with my school bag and a little bit of cash that I had saved. I was hoping this cafe had some sweets, so that way I could munch on a little bit, since all I had for dinner was just an apple. As I walked down the hallway, I see groups of students huddled in a corner. One of them had their phone out and others stared at the screen. Then another student walks up to the group. She had long, light gold hair pulled up in a ponytail, as she wore a red shirt with black leggings and red Converses. I don't think she was planning on going to school anytime soon, considering the outfit was almost the opposite. "Hey guys, what y'all watching?" she asked as one of the girls looked up from eyeing the screen, a boy holding the phone as she looked up at the girl. "Did you see the news last night? The story about that girl they said saving those people." He tried to ask, but the girl cut him off. "Saved them from falling debris. Yeah, I saw it. Did you see the part about her shooting some sort of energy from her hands?" She smiled. The boy smiled back. "Yeah, damn right I saw it. That was epic as hell." They continued to talk and banter, but I didn't pay attention anymore. My thoughts were now only on the girl they talked about, and what the girl said about the power from the girl's hands. And then one name came into my mind. Izuku. I hurried down the stairs and headed straight for the common room. When I reached the doorway of the common room, my eyes searched for Izuku. He was laying there against the wall, talking to a group of people. With a deep breath, I walked over to him. "Hi, Izuku," I say with a forced smile, waving my hand. As soon as he saw me, he shot up from against the wall, almost losing his balance as he did so. "Hey, Nana." He glanced at Ida and then back to me. "You ready?" he asked. "Mm-hmm," I responded. We all walked to the exit of the school and head to the cafe. I started to think about what I wanted to eat. I have 20 yen in my bag with some change. Izuku was talking to one of the boys about something, but I didn't really pay much attention. As we reached the cafe, our group walks in, and Izuku stops in the doorway, waiting for me. As I approach him, a smile grows across his face as I stare at him for a second. "What?" I asked while forcing back a slight smirk. "Oh, nothing," he says to me before walking into the cafe. I stare at the menu, scanning every option. What can I get for you guys today?" the woman at the register asked me. I haven't decided yet, so I just say the first thing that my eyes landed on. I'll have the blueberry muffin." The woman nods and then starts to talk to the others. I turn my head looking for a table. I spot an empty table in the corner by the window and I walk over to it. As I walk over to the table, I walk past a boy on his phone, watching a video of... Oh my. It's the same one about the group of students I saw this morning. That's what they were talking about? I quickly sat down and looked out the window. Then Izuku and his friends sat around the table with me. They were laughing and chattering, much as normal students do. "So what's that story on the news about the superhero girl all about?" I asked. They all stopped dead in their tracks and looked at me, as if I had asked the weird question. What?" I asked, feeling very uncomfortable as I clenched my bandaged arm, shaking slightly. Tanya looked at me, but before he could speak, Uraraka squealed as her eyes lifted from her phone. "You're that hero that stopped the falling debris from yesterday!" She squealed as she jumped into her seat, causing everyone to widen their eyes with shock as I shrinked into my seat. Huh? There's no way that she is, Todoroki exclaimed as I cut him off. That was recorded? I mumbled as all eyes fell on me. "You're the hero?" They all yelled in shock, which caused me to jump, falling out of my seat. Ow. And to answer your question, yes, I am. You said, as a scared hand was extended to you. Your eyes trailed up the arm to be met with soft green eyes. once it belonged to Izuku Midoriya, as you learned the name. A faint blush dusting your cheeks as causing your quirk to activate slightly, your hair beginning to elevate from where it laid. A faint glow emanating from your body as your eyes held the same glow. See, look, it matches the hero from the video! Uraraka spoke up as she showed the video to everyone at the table to see the same thing but brighter and more ferocious. You got up and looked at the green-haired boy with a small smile as you calmed down, your quirk following suit as your hair fell back into place. Sorry, I suppose I should tell you my quirk, if that's what it's called? You say with a shy smile as you sat back in your seat. Everyone waited eagerly. You took a deep breath as you looked up to meet their eyes. My quirk is called Supernova. Basically, my body holds the exact same energy as a star, meaning I can charge and release a blast of heat radiation like a star does when it explodes. And if I concentrate, like you saw in the video, I can channel it into beams and balls to be thrown. And, well, once I was able to control the gravity to propel me upward. However, the downside is my body can't handle the amount of radiation from its use, meaning I have to be very careful, otherwise it can burn my body from the inside out. I explained as Izuku had apparently taken out a very worn-out notebook similar to the one that he had yesterday and was writing down everything I was saying, making a bright red hue blossom around my cheeks. Wow, that is such a Hold up. That is quite a remarkable quirk, Tenya commented as he adjusted his glasses and a smile formed on his lips. I am sure you will make a great hero in the future. You smiled bashfully as Deku's heart tugged at the look of your smile. A warm feeling filled his chest before I looked up at my phone and jumped up, snatching the muffin that had been laid while I was talking. We're gonna be late! I need to talk to the teacher and meet up with Miss Midnight. You panicked as they all began to rush to their feet. You just happened to beat them out the door, only being met with a large block of cement colliding with your body, sending you flying into a nearby building. Deka, Ida, Uraraka, Todoroki were all taken aback. Nana-chan! Deku exclaimed as Ida and Todoroki looked at the villain responsible, while Uraraka and Deku rushed to where your body was crushed in the boulder, only for a bright light to blind them, stopping them in their tracks. Once the light had diminished, or at least dimmed enough for them to see, Deku was the first to look up to be met with you. Your body was being circled by a yellow and white glow as your hair and eyes radiated the same as before. Your face was battered and bloody to match your body as you hovered off the ground. Nana-chan? Deku spoke as you glared past all of them to the villain as you extended your arm out to the villain, your hand still in a fist as a beam of energy shot from it, hitting the villain, sending them into the building behind them. Judging from the smoke and how pissed you had seemed, they had guessed that you had left severe third-degree burns on their torso as smoke left their wounds. Slowly, your quirk began to settle as your feet soon touched the ground, but they didn't stay before a scared Deku caught you mid-fall. Your eyes fluttered to be met with the soft green eyes of Izuku, only for everyone else to quickly clamor around him. Tears began to well, not just from the physical pain, but from the fact knowing you made so many good people worry about you. Not to mention his friends all looked more worried as he wiped your tears away. I'm so so sorry. You mumbled before falling unconscious again. The only thing you could hear was the sound of the voices telling you to stay awake and the sound of rushing footsteps. End of chapter 3. Alright, so that's all we have written so far. And I want to thank Summit of Everest for creating the thumbnail for today's video. She is an amazing artist. You should go check her out. And yeah, hopefully videos won't be taking this long to get done. I am doing poorly in school, so I had to make up for that. But other than that, I hope to see you again soon. And take care now. Bye bye then.